me.
And a little
See?
kiss to go with it.
Oh, goodness gracious. Oh. And how about...
Oh, that was a real sexy...
How about we've got... For all the young ladies in the country that's watching you, how about you could give these ladies a kiss on the cheek each? Just a quick one on the teeth. As a representative of all you ladies, they get... Oh, Ned. Oh, dear. One down here. Fantastic.
Bring them all on. Come on.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got to go now. It's quite happy underneath. With one of your paintings.
Good idea.
Do you think I may leave her in your charge?
Safely leave her in my capable hands here.
Right.
She's anxious to rush away.
She is. I've got fast hold of her here.
Stay here and enjoy it, girl.
The best part of the job.
I want you to observe, ladies and gentlemen, the smiling face now. What is smiling the whole time, all day? What if I put my fingers down her ears like this? Even smiles more. Do you think I could leave this young lady with you also?
Safely in my capable hands.
Say no
yes,
more.
Jim.
Offer. I don't know what she's going to do with this here didgeridoo.
Welcome to my podcast, Silenced, and thank you for tuning in again. And today we're going to talk about Jimmy Savile and the fact that North Yorkshire Police had 35 allegations against him and Giaconelli. Yes, you heard it right, 35. And the detective didn't produce an intelligence report. So basically, as we know, they got away with it. But do the public know just how much North Yorkshire Police knew about it? Well, this is what this podcast is about. It's also about the fact that the North Yorkshire Police like to do the mantra lessons learned. So did they learn the lessons? Did they get their house in order? Well, not according to a 2022 Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary Fire and Rescue report. They were using inadequately trained and inexperienced officers to investigate child sexual abuse cases. Now, any layperson would think, oh, well, you know, that's pretty obvious, isn't it? You would have thought that trained officers would know, especially the Chief Constable. So we're going to have a look at that and what they knew, how they failed victims. But also the other reason why I'm looking into it as well is because when victims are failed, it doesn't just stop there. Especially if, say, the perpetrator is charged and gets away with it and they're failed by a police investigation, because then the victim is often blamed. And the ramifications go on lifelong of people getting involved, people saying it's a false allegation, people claiming things, bullying. So I'm going to talk about Jimmy Savile today. I'll be dipping into the case of how we were failed by North Yorkshire Police, but not speaking about it much on here, just things that, you know, coincide with what I'm talking about. But basically that's what's going to be happening. I'm going to be saying how we were failed by North Yorkshire Police as well. So let's start with Jimmy Savile and some backstory of how North Yorkshire Police failed the victims. The Yorkshire Police admit that they missed opportunities to prosecute both Jimmy Savile and Giaconelli. Now, I know that Savile came from Leeds, but he did have a holiday home in Scarborough, and Giaconelli had an ice cream business. So I'm fully aware that West Yorkshire Police also failed victims, but I'm concentrating on North Yorkshire Police because they're the ones that failed us, and I can't take on the world. So this is about North Yorkshire Police and Jimmy Savile. North Yorkshire Police began its Operation Hibiscus investigation into historical abuse allegations after a BBC Inside Out report. This prompted 35 people to come forward. Police said 32 of the cases related to allegations against Giaconelli between 1958 and 1998, and 5 related to behaviour by Savile between 1979 and 1988, with 2 people claiming they were abused by both men. The police watchdog, the Independent Police Complaints Commission, conducted an investigation into North Yorkshire Police's handling of the historical allegations against Savile and Giaconelli after the force made a voluntary referral in April 2014. And as you can see from this footage coming up, he's hiding in plain sight. Now, I'm not saying this lady knew anything about what he was up to, but look at the things he says, and she just giggles away with him as if nothing's happened. And it's like our perpetrator. He was charged with 9 counts of child sexual abuse, and there's certain women around here that thinks he's wonderful, stands up for him and thinks he's absolutely great. It's absolutely disgusting.
Give both these young ladies their Jim will fix it badges.
Yes.
Because, wait a minute, how old are you?
12.
12. Hello, Judge. And how old are you?
11.
You're not married, are you?
No.
Oh, that's all right
Stay
then.
in London too.
She wants to stay. I've got myself a girlfriend. Wow. It's one of my girlfriends. So she has something to say back, which is...
This is my boyfriend.
Oh, so she said it. She said it, you see. Just shift up there because it looks like I've added a girlfriend to my collection, ladies and gentlemen. Is there room for both of us in here? You sure?
Yes.
First of all, ladies and gentlemen, I must tell you that it would appear that I've been adopted by my friend here, who has not left me alone all day and doesn't look like she's going to leave me alone all night. However...
And when North Yorkshire Police were brought to task, basically, because of the internet, it got more in the public eye. They would have got, if it wasn't for the internet, they'd have got away with this. But the force said it had not been possible to pursue lines of inquiries and involving interviews with Savile and Giaconelli during the time that they were alive because they would have disputed the allegations against them. Well, of course they'd have disputed the allegations against them. But, you know, a lot of criminals do. A lot of people that are arrested do dispute allegations. But that doesn't mean to say that you don't arrest them. And these were the people that are saying these stupid comments like that and using those reasons that were investigating child sexual abuse cases. So no wonder perpetrators get away with it when North Yorkshire Police are at the helm. And obviously it's very difficult to prosecute a paedophile because it's their word against the child's. And the investigation goes to the CPS and they're 1% prosecution rate, or some people put like 3% prosecution rate in rape cases. I mean, it's absolutely appalling. My dealings with the CPS is they're just, you know, as much use as a chocolate fireguard, to be honest. They were absolutely appalling when it happened with our case. It's absolutely incompetent. So you've got a police force that's using inadequate officers with no training, and then you've got the CPS to deal with it. So no wonder these paedophiles are getting away with it. But you often see it with police forces, how they'll gleefully put online when they've had a prosecution. And that's often when paedophile has put stuff online, so they've caught them with images on the computer, basically. Well, a lot of them aren't that stupid to do that, and then that's how they don't get caught. And a perfect example of this is Gary Glitter, who took his laptop to get repaired and told the technician not to look into the files. And that's the cockiness as well and confidence of these paedophiles. But had he not have put it online, nobody would have known about what he was up to. So if that computer hadn't been repaired, he would never have got found out. But what annoys me about North Yorkshire Police is they're not even hungry to get these people and get a conviction because they just say, oh, well, we didn't say anything because they wouldn't admit it. Where's the fight? Where's the wanting to get justice? I mean, if it was their children, I'm sure they wouldn't be just saying, oh, well, they won't admit it and then pottering off home without a care in the world. It's absolutely outrageous. So let's get back to what the IPCC found about the police. It concluded there was no evidence of misconduct, but there was evidence of organisational failure with a number of lessons to be learned. How many times have I heard that from North Yorkshire Police? That's their mantra, which have now been rectified for the future. I wonder how much that would work if you, say, got stopped to doing 35 miles in a 30. Sorry, officer, I won't do it again. Lessons will be learned. Or if I ran a red light, sorry, officer, lessons will be learned. It won't work in a month of Sundays. But when it's them with serious sexual abuse cases, they can come up with this absolute crap. Lessons will be learned. And I have had dealings with the IPCC, now the IOPC, isn't it? And North Yorkshire Police's complaint system. And I will talk about that in length in the future about our case. And I can tell you now, neither are fit for purpose whatsoever. The police mark their own homework, so basically that's the mates, they're investigating themselves, basically. And the IPCC, unless it's a murder, or the IOPC now, that gets on national news, you haven't got a chance with them. They're not interested whatsoever. But they say that lessons were learned. So okay, lessons have been learned and they've rectified it. Well, wait now until we talk about Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary Fire and Rescue 2022 reports. 6, 7, 8 years after this. Let's see if lessons have been learnt. At the time of publication, Lisa Winwood was a Chief Constable, and she'd been the Assistant Chief Constable throughout 2016. In 2017, she became a Deputy Chief Constable at North Yorkshire Police, and on 2018, she was confirmed as Chief Constable. Winwood suddenly retired in 2024, and I've been challenging both Winwood and Metcalfe about the competence, particularly around child sexual abuse cases. And I challenged them online when they have this accountability meeting, and I'll put put the link in the description below. And Winwood had promised to apologise personally to child sexual abuse victims that they failed, and however much I contacted them, they never did. And I contacted Metcalfe and she wouldn't even respond to my messages. So basically they lied to me, they never did what they said, and it's on that video, it's on, you know, you can see it for yourself. But when she retired, this is what Metcalfe said about her. She said, on behalf of the public, well, it's not on behalf of me and a lot of other people as well that I know, and personally I would like to thank Chief Constable Lisa Winwood for her distinguished service to our communities and to North Yorkshire Police. Her dedication of over 30 years of public service and collaboration has shone through while serving as a leader here at North Yorkshire Police, and I feel privileged to have spent time working alongside her, such a remarkable individual. I know all of us in here in York, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, no mention of how bad the report was and that she had to publicly apologise to victims. I wanted it personally. She publicly apologised for failing victims. And as you'll see from the report, she publicly apologises on here. It said that Winwood fully accepted the report and was a deepest apologist to any child it had let down. Well, why wasn't this mentioned when she retired? Or why didn't Metcalfe just shut up and not put anything? But instead, this was just like it was at the accountability meetings that I watched. They were all in each other's pockets and it was all, oh, so lovey-dovey and you're doing so wonderful. No, it wasn't. And this is what riles people like me, and it lets the victims down. Just admit you failed, move on, let somebody else come in, stop the lying and the cover-ups, and the public will think so much more. And this is why police are getting such a bad name for themselves with people like this that cover it up. And this, you know, lovey-dovey thing that she said when she'd retired, saying, you know, on behalf of the public. They failed the public. Her Majesty's Inspector of Constabulary Fire and Rescue Service report clearly states that they failed the public. And on the report from the inspectorate, it says there's a little evidence of effective multi-agency operational activity to safeguard children. But when it comes to Metcalfe, she turns around and says that the collaboration has shone through. Well, it clearly hasn't, has it? Because the report's proven that. So again, another lie and another cover-up. So I've put a few clips out of the report. I mean, it's so bad, it just goes on and on and on about the failings. So you have to read it yourself. But they said that investigations into child sexual exploitation and missing children was poor. This is under Winwood. It says supervisors don't oversee investigations well enough, mainly because they lack the training, skills and experience. But if you put it back to 6, 7, 8 years ago, they were turning around and saying that they were going to rectify this and lessons had been learned. They clearly hadn't. And you may think, oh, just reading it, oh, it's bad. But just think how many children have been failed, how many families have been ripped apart because they didn't even have officers that were trained to investigate the most serious cases apart from murder, child sexual abuse. They didn't have the right officers in to do the training. But instead of hanging their heads in shame, this is the thing that riles me so much. They just carried on the cover-up. They went home to their families, didn't they? Where you got families back at home that have been absolutely ripped apart because either the children, they encourage people to come forward. So the children have come forward. They've told the parents. They've told the school, whoever. They've told the police. They've been investigating. They didn't tell the parents and turn around and say, oh, well, actually, we will investigate it. But just to tell you, you know, we're investigating it by inexperienced and unqualified officers, and it might get supervised or it might not. Now you imagine going to the doctors, yeah, and you're going to go into surgery and they say, oh, just before you go into surgery, oh yeah, the person that's operating on you, they're not qualified and they're not going to be supervised and they're a bit inexperienced. You would never in your life, nobody would go and get that operation. Yet we're expected by these lot to turn around and then getting paid, we pay our council tax for this, but not only do this, absolutely ruin lives. And you can accept it if they've tried the hardest and they've done a thorough investigation. As I've said, it's just about impossible to prosecute a paedophile because it's generally the child's word against them. It's only if they got caught with stuff online. But when they're knowingly using inexperienced and unqualified officers and they're so incompetent they can't think that's wrong, an 8-year-old would realise that's wrong and they don't realise it's wrong, and they put you in that situation, knowing that when it fails you are going to get such abuse from, like in small towns, because the perpetrator can go out and say, oh, it was a false allegation, oh, poor me, and then you get verbally assaulted as you walk down the street because the police have failed you. This has happened to so many families and it's got to stop. During the inspection, they examined 73 cases. Now, you can imagine how many cases there were. There'll be thousands, right? So they've obviously had to pick out of it. And they assessed them, and they were good in 13 cases. Not exceptional, you've only got good. In 13, that's 60 cases out of those 73 that's not good. 34 of them required improvement, and 26 were inadequate. This shows the force needs to do more to give consistently good service for all children. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, you think of how many families they've just absolutely obliterated with their investigation. They've only got one job to do. That is investigate cases and collate evidence, and they've just got it so wrong. But as I say, they've had it with Jimmy Savile. They had the full warning there, and they've just carried on. But more annoying, I know this, I have exhausted the police complaint system. I'll be doing my videos of what happened in court, some good, some bad, with trying to get them to be made accountable. They just blanket, they just cover it up, or lessons learned, or they have the professional standards department, which is their complaint system. It's by themselves, and you've never, I mean, I will go through the complaint system and stuff we got back. If it wasn't serious, it's laughable how they'll just make any excuse for anything. They'll contradict themselves completely. They will never admit they're wrong, and they will do anything to get rid of you. They just prolong it out, you know, with, oh, so-and-so wasn't able to answer, or any excuse they can possibly imagine, or it's been taken on by another officer now, or we've already done this report. So even if you say make a complaint and it's absolute, they just send back the absolute biggest load of gobbledygook you can possibly imagine. You turn around, so that's been investigated. You've got like a bit of an appeal, and it takes weeks, months. I think one complaint I put through, they took a year to respond to it, and that proves my point exactly how bad the investigations by North Yorkshire Police are, because on their thing they say 8 were good, 15 require improvement, and 10 are inadequate. But under the inspectorates they say 4 were good, so 50% it's been cut. 16 require improvement and 13 are inadequate. And then the inspector selected and assessed 40 more cases during the inspection, and the additional 40 cases they assessed, 9 were good, 18 require improvement, and 13 were inadequate. So it just goes to show, when you've got an inspectorate investigating, there's a much higher level of ones that have been incompetent and inadequate and are not good enough to the police, and it's precisely the same when you send in your complaint. And remember, what you're also challenging against is they've got to answer the inspectorate. They'll be running around doing everything for them. You as a member of public, they don't even answer you. It might be the law too, but if the police don't follow the law, you try and take them to court, and the court is programmed to be on the police officer's side. That's who they're dealing with the whole time. The police are their witnesses, aren't they? So then you go in there, and the other thing as well, apart from a few cases, and one's I can't remember Robinson, but I could look it up, and that they got there was a breach of duty of care there. The police do not owe you a duty of care, unbelievably, so they can get away with it. They're not accountable to anyone, really. And if you wanted to take them to court, you would have to be exceptionally wealthy. And it could soon end up costing you hundreds of thousands of pounds taking the police to court. Even if you're in the right, it could be ruinous. And remember, when you're fighting the police trying to get justice, you're using your money to fight them, and they're using your money to fight you. Think about it. Thank you for watching, and I know it's a shocking watch, and it's going to get worse with the things that I expose and how bad the judicial system is, from the police to the courts to the judge, and it needs exposing, because many decent people, there's obviously people that cover these perpetrators up. They're just disgusting, you know, the lowest of the low. But there's many decent people that don't realise just how bad it is. And before our perpetrator came into our lives, I thought, oh yeah, we've got a cracking judicial system, you know, the best in the country. It's so, you know, not the best in the country, best in the world, sorry. You know, people are jealous of it. It is just not the case whatsoever. And when you're failed by the victims, like the Jimmy Savile victims were, and like we've been failed, you're open to abuse from other people, you know, verbal abuse in the street, whatever, even physical abuse, as the perpetrator gets away and tells their own story. So I'll be telling more, for example, like the DI wasn't qualified, even though they're calling themselves a DI. The perpetrator bugged our home and he wasn't even investigated. The police not investigating domestic violence, rapes and all sorts. I'll be talking about it all. So thank you very much for watching, and please look out for episode 4.